巫女の話あったな。あっち行けるんじゃないか。そうそう、行けるようになったから。
Are they? But don't follow too closely. We can't have people thinking we're bathing together.
お、これでまたちょっと進みそうだな。どこら辺が浴場なの？まだ先？脱衣所がないじゃん。あ、これ？プールみたいだな。
All right, you're here. You were asking how I knew the young woman you met by the river was wearing a hood. Here, look down at the bottom of the baths. It's a little hard to make out in this light. If only we could see. Oh, what a marvelous lamp. But do you see it? Somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a figure with a coin. It's just as you described it, only your pronunciation is a little off. The name you heard wasn't Karen. It was C-H-A-R-O-N, as in Charon, the ferryman of the dead. Charon, who in exchange for the right coin helps the souls of the newly deceased cross the Styx, the river that separates the land of the living from the land of the dead.
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute.
何？サンズの川を渡ってくれる船を漕ぐ人にお金を渡す的な。
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. I take it you know what this means.
あ、ここは冥界。
It's all starting to make sense.
なるほど。
All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward the river. It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all. Perhaps we should be grateful they don't remember their final moments. It also tells us that the Golden Rule is the work of Pluto, the god of the underworld, and why his epithet has always been Father of Riches.
でもそれと黄金律があることのつながりがまだちょっと分かってないな。
That was my first thought too. In the old stories, the underworld was where the souls of the deceased were taken. But it was also possible for the living to reach it without dying, if they were particularly fearless.
まだやり直すチャンスをもらってる状態ってこと？
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting you're not from here. If you were Roman or even Greek, you would know these stories. Each of them is slightly different, whether the storyteller was Plato, Homer, Virgil, or Ovid. But they always involved the souls of the dead meeting a grim ferryman named Charon on the bank of a river. It was said that he'd help the new arrival cross, only if they could pay him with a coin, an obol. That's why it was once our custom to pay a coin in their mouths. Charon's obol, we called it. Of course, an obol was a kind of Greek coin, because we inherited this knowledge from the Greeks. To be fair, the ferryman isn't exactly as the poets described, and he, she, they seem to appear to different people in different ways.
見るものによって様々な姿に見える。
I saw a young woman named Karen with a hood, and I once heard Kabash mention a stranger in a ram headdress named Kerti, and Rufius described meeting a stranger named Kumut Tabal wearing an eagle headdress. But whatever form this stranger took, they were always wearing a hood of some sort, and their name was a K sound. I suspect the only way you'll solve this riddle is if your paths
フードが好きなんだ。
begin. Good question. Let's see. In the stories, Charon would always require a coin as payment for passage across the river. But that never made any sense to me. What does an ancient immortal being need with coins? In our case, it seems Charon didn't take the coins we had. He or she merely checked we had one in our possession. So, maybe there's something special about the coins each of us had on us. That might explain why
ああ、そうか。ここに来た人たちはみんな
others did not.
コインを持ってたんだ。
No. I mean, I had my suspicions, especially after Livia's ramblings, but I would never have figured it out without your help, I promise you. Now that we know where we are, we have to figure out what to do about it, if we don't want to be cast into gold for
う
eternity.
ん、そうだよね。町の正体が分かると言って、
I remember four in particular
何ができるのか
about heroes in the underworld. Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet. Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra. And Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because
ヘラクレスは冥界の神を力でねじ伏せた。
Sisyphus and
強すぎる。
both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able to escape with the help of a spirit guide.
秘密の門を取って脱出した。
So it seems you have two options. To confront the god
あ
of
あ、
the
冥
underworld
界の神に正面から立ち向か
or
う
a
か
way to escape with the help of Proserpina.
脱出する方法を見つけるか。
It's a reasonable question, but the problem is, this place is fairly well designed to keep us here. There's no way to climb up the shaft. And even if you could build a ladder big enough, just trying it would break the golden rule.
あ、大きなはしごを作ること自体が黄金律を破っちゃうんだ。厳しいな。
To avoid saying it, and the reason is quite simple. He might hear us. You may refer to him as Pluto, if you wish, but you'll only be calling attention to yourself.
名前を呼んではいけない神。
Shh! Is everyone so blunt where you're from? Oh. That option would be the boldest, but also the only way to learn the truth about the Golden Rule, and maybe even put an end to it. As I said, Hercules managed to overpower the god of the underworld, but he
ヘラクレスは半信半人。
Forgive my candor, but you are no Hercules.
奥の手、ループできるのが奥の手って言っちゃそうかもしれないけど、
I'll admit, you do seem different to anyone I've ever met. And even that lamp of yours looks like something Prometheus might have stolen from the gods. So, if you want to confront him, I'll help you as much as I can.
いや、でも、
Who knows? Perhaps your name will be uttered in
戦わないといけないかどうか。
one day. But first, you'd need an audience with you know who, and for that, you'll need to enter the great temple overlooking the sea.
実際戦うことになっ
The
たら、
problem is, the door has been
Very
sealed
sure.
shut for as long as I've lived here, and there doesn't even seem to be a keyhole.
戦うのが無理だからやっぱ、
In the desecrated obelisk
戦わなくていいよう
I'm
に
not sure if you noticed, but
ループして情報を集めていくっていうことになるんじゃないかな。
It looks as though somebody or a series of somebodies forcibly removed them, and in doing so, dishonored and angered our divine keeper. If you could recover and replace all four of those missing plaques, I imagine he might be willing to receive an audience again. It's the towering stone monument with four sides and a pyramid-shaped head that stands before the great temple, a dedication to the god of this place. You'll find them all over Rome, but of course they were looted from
Obelisk.
Egypt many years ago. It seems one of them made its way here too, although how is a mystery. However, This one is unusual in that each of the four sides is decorated in a different style. Roman, Greek,
あ、ローマ、ギリシャ、エジプト以外の文化がある。
That means you'll need to recover 4 different plaques. Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and a fourth, a mystery plaque.
ダイアンの文化。
Good question. To answer that, we first need to ask who would have defaced the obelisk in the first place. It would have had the god's name engraved into it, so it may be that whoever desecrated it wanted that name to be forgotten. And there's only
石板探しの旅になるのか。
who might want to do that. There's a cult in Rome that often argued there is only one true
あ、
god.
ここで
Theirs, of course.
カルト集団が出てく
They
る。
want to start fires, as well as deface religious monuments whose
彼らは火事を始めた。
their beliefs. If I were you, I'd go looking for them. Of course, they've all been in hiding since the fire last year, so finding them won't be easy. But I did hear a rumor they have a secret shrine somewhere in the city. Perhaps, if you could find that, you might be able to
秘密の祠ね。
I don't know. But perhaps you should begin your search with the local Greek fellow, Georgius. His store is in the forum. Perhaps Kabash, our Egyptian resident, will be able to tell us. Unfortunately, he disappeared weeks ago.
そう、数週間前に姿を消した人が多すぎるんだよな。
So, perhaps you could talk to her, or just take a look in his room. I'm afraid you're on your own with that one, but perhaps finding the other 3 will illuminate the way. As I mentioned, both Orpheus and Sisyphus were said to have persuaded Proserpina to help them escape, and Aeneas was guided to the exit. The problem is, those are the stories of a poet, a self-aggrandizing king, and a brawler about their own heroic deeds.
まあそう
So
ね。
they should be taken with a
昔
grain of
話。
salt. First,
それが正しい
what we
っていう
do
か、
know about her
本
is
当のことかどうかわかんないし。
it's a grim tale. It's said the god
あ、
of
で
the
もここが
underworld
冥界なんだと
abducted
した
and
ら、
dragged her here against her will, forcing her into
限り
marriage.
なく正しくあるのか。
If the stories are true, then I suppose so. The problem is, how do we communicate with her without being noticed by her captor? Leaving that aside for a moment, there is also the possibility of a spirit guide. I don't suppose you've come across one of those in your travels? Truly?
あ、ささやき声。
Bringing this up now? Then again, I suppose you were worried I'd
ささや
thought
き
you
声
as
は
mad as Navia.
どっちかというと
Can you tell me more?
イカダっぽい
Is
か
it
ら
the
な。
same voice? What kinds of thing does it say? Fascinating. Perhaps she's a benevolent spirit, or perhaps
ああ、これがプロセルピナの可能性があるんだな。
If she has indeed been abducted, it would make sense for her to speak in cryptic whispers to avoid detection. Tell me, has she told you anything that might lead you to the way out?
でもどうせだったらささやかないで、普通に喋ってくれればいいのにね。
That is strange. There are no rivers here. Let me think on that. Well, as far as I can tell, water flows into the city from an aqueduct into one of 2 cisterns, the upper cistern. If that's the current she's talking about, then perhaps you need to get
上層のシスタン、結局どうやって行くのかわからない。
But the door at the back of the great temple is locked up tight. You might be able to get a key from the magistrate. But if that doesn't work, perhaps you can find another way in. Let me know if you find anything in there. All right. I would suggest not discussing this with anyone. The best we can do for them is to let them remain oblivious for as long as possible. As for Livia, it seems she's been shouldering the weight of this terrible secret.
ああ、そうか。ここが冥界っていうことは誰も知らないし、そういうの話しちゃうとダメってことね。
In any case, time is of the essence, so you'd best begin. May Fortuna guide you, although you may not need her with Proserpina on your side.
で、結局侵入者ってどうやって入ってきたんだろう。窓もなさそうなのに。
But it does not notice the crowds that come.
あ、もう、単刀直入に行っちゃうの。
Say it. Speak its name. Then it is true. I was right. I thought I saw it, but when the rest of them could not, I kept thinking I must have gone insane. I had to tell myself
一人だけ真実に気づいてしまったんだな。
until I wasn't sure if I was deceiving myself. I must apologize if my words seem cryptic. I'd found comfort in reciting the Metamorphoses by our great poet Ovid. He gives such an uncanny description of this place. I cannot help but wonder if he himself came here. Would you like to hear it?
他の用事を思い出した。
I understand. Such things are not for everyone. But I thank you nonetheless. And now we share
普通に笑えるんだな。
as if you've lifted a great burden from my shoulders. Thank you, friend.
ちゃんと会話ができる
I should rest.
人でよかったな。そしたら、じゃあこの石板探しになるってことか。ヘラクレスの試練。あ、これのためにやっぱ4つ集めないといけない。